What is up, guys? Welcome to the comp vlog. I'm down here in Utah for the weekend. It's actually Easter Sunday because when I signed up for the competition, I didn't check the date like a moron. But we're tying up some flies here in the hotel. I'm in Utah, about an 8.5 hour drive from Montana. So drove all day, spent my Easter in the car. Just got off the phone with my folks, wish them a happy Easter. Tying up some last minute flies for the weekend. Kind of going over some things in my head, gonna prepare my lines, kind of all that jazz. But yeah, stick around this weekend. Well, I guess technically the weekend's over, but we'll get after it tomorrow. A little Shrek 2 on TV. Shout out to my boy Gunner. It's 5:30 competition morning. Got some last minute preparations to get through. Gotta be there at 8. First session starts at 9. Right now, my biggest concern is my floater is a little curly cute. So if I'm fishing dry dropper, or even if I'm slowly tugging it along the surface, you kind of see the curls in it. It's not tight, so I have to overcome that tightness before I can set the hook. So that could definitely cost me some fish. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pull all of it out. It's really just the thick white part. So I'm gonna pull it all out. Pull it all out, and I'm just gonna give it a slight pull. Get rid of all the memory in it. Don't want to be losing fish to just pure laziness, which happens a lot in my career. But the other thing I'm going to do quickly this morning is I'm going to make sure all my lake lines have this little 10-pound Maxi Chameleon butt. And I'm going to put a tippet ring here. That way I can quickly change out my lines and leave kind of the same leader on there. In Cortland, I love you dearly, but the mere fact that I have to put my own tippet rings on this little swivel, I might start charging labor costs. You don't have to do that with Rios. Just saying. So that clip you just saw, I thought was a lot better quality when I took it. I thought you could kind of see the whole lake. And actually, this is kind of that was kind of the last clip of the comp day. I kind of got into the competition and kind of forgot that I was making a vlog along the way. Didn't get any footage of the second lake, just pre-stuff, can't record during. But kind of break down the sessions. That last clip you saw, which was my first beat of the first session of the day, that was Meadow Lake, and that was beat 6. So the way it works is we have 3 hours on each beat, and after every hour we rotate, and we rotate every other beat. So after 6 I went to 2, and then after 2 I went to 4, and in between those hours we get 10-minute kind of grace period to move, kind of re-rig if you can get it done in that amount of time. And whatnot. But what you saw there in that clip was my first beat 6, which I did not catch any fish in. There was actually some fish rising when we first started the session. I started very quickly with my midge tip, 3 chrominids. Probably like my second cast, I want to say, like I had like a bump. I was casting out there and just slowly hand retrieving it. Got a bump, didn't touch the fish with any of my hooks. And basically that was the only action I got all session. I'm trying to think what I did. I just kind of midge tipped. I maybe threw a floater with some streamers. I don't believe, I did dry dropper too first session as well. So nothing that first session. I believe one person got 2 fish kind of over on the dam, kind of towards the other end of the lake. So where you see that last clip, it kind of goes like this, and then back across the dam with beats all the way along that dam section. and much deeper along the dam than where I was in front of me, at least from what I could tell. At least the drop off was more severe closer to the shore. So one was caught right in the corner there, and a couple more fish way down on the other end of the dam. I didn't catch anything. We rotated, so I actually thought I was rotating to beat one because I wasn't paying super good attention during the meeting in the morning. So I thought I was rotating to beat one, which had like this grassy, weedy area, which kind of made the left side of the beat a little obsolete unless you're kind of just sitting on the surface with a dry fly or something like that. But then towards the right side of the beat was like some more grass, but a bunch of rising fish. And I thought that was my beat. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is juicy. This is great. This is a good beat draw. And then the guy broke the news to me that I had to rotate one beat over. And I was pretty heartbroken. And, so basically what I did was I stood basically on the flag line, still within my beat, still legal. But as close to the flag as I could get while still being legal. And I put that midge tip back on, 3 crominids, had a fish take my fly as soon as it hit the surface, missed it, threw it again. Probably a few casts later, again, had another bump on the midges. Missed, nothing. I couldn't lock into a fish, couldn't have anything take really hard. And then everything went quiet for a while. I saw that it was pretty deep, so eventually somewhere along the line I made the decision, maybe these fish are kind of chasing like a tractor type stuff like that. So I put on an intermediate, switched to my intermediate, and 3 streamers, a blank saver, a humongous, and I can't remember the last one. I still might have had a midge on, but I was just pulling it fast. But anyways, I ended up throwing like a bad cast, and kind of got some tangles out of my line, because dude, lake lines are atrocious getting knots, especially when they're in the stripping basket. It's horrid. But anyways, threw a bad cast. My line started sinking quite a bit as I was doing the little loops in my line, and started pulling it back really fast just to recast, and I ended up nailing my first fish. So caught that fish. And I was like, hey, maybe there's something to that. So I started casting. I started messing with countdowns, and by that what I mean, so my intermediate sinks about 2.5 to 3 inches per second. I'd say closer to 2 probably. So basically, if I count down 20 seconds, my line should be about 40 feet, or 40 inches, sorry. And so I was kind of experimenting with the countdown. I think I started with 10, I went to 15, 20. You'll see by the end I went to 40. But I think I caught a fish counting down 20 and then just pulling really hard back towards me, like as fast as I could. Caught a second fish. So I'm 2 fish on the board at this point. Landed both of them, fortunately. Not really an issue dropping fish this weekend. A little bit problems hooking fish. But once I had them on the line, I only dropped 1 fish this weekend, which was awesome. Because that certainly makes my life much easier, because fish only count when they hit the net. So caught those 2 fish doing that. The rest of the session was super slow. We rotated the next hour, and I switched that top fly. So I still had the blank saber and the humongous, but I switched that top fly for a booby, a yellow and pink booby. And my thought process there was put some foam eyes on there, kind of push some water. If these fish are kind of chasing a tractor type stuff, moving that water will really agitate that lateral line, get these fish chasing. And did that. I started counting down 40 seconds, making sure my flies were very close to the bottom. And I caught 2 fish right away. So I was probably in the lead for the session with about 45 minutes to go. And then one of my competitors, who was just around the corner from me, she kind of caught on to what I was doing, / kind of adjusted it for her beat and whatnot. And she caught 2 fish probably with 20 minutes left. And we ended up tying for first place in that session, which was good. So we both took a 1 that session. And then moving on to the evening, we had a great lunch where we kind of all met up at the lodge, compared stuff. talked about the competition as much as we could while also realizing that we're all competing against each other. We heard that the other lake was kind of tough. Definitely put up more fish than ours. I caught 4 fish and tied for first, so pretty slow, pretty tough lake. But that second lake, Eagle Lake, I didn't really have that much intel. All I heard was that the fish were kind of farther out than what people were getting to, blah, blah, blah. And so I basically started the same way I finished. I'm like, hey, maybe I could still catch some fish this way. So the big problem with lakes is, especially bank sessions, is you can see everybody you're fishing against at the same time. So I was kind of looking around, and some other competitors had some early success on the farther down beats, and I was kind of like watching what they were doing / doing what I was doing. I wasn't getting any fish. I was also kind of got the pressure put on a little bit because they were catching fish. Because I caught 4 fish in 3 hours in the morning. That's by no means fast and furious action. So I probably maybe should have stuck with what I was doing a little bit more. I kind of made some adjustments. I probably stayed with that for maybe 20 minutes, the rig I was using on the other lake. Meanwhile, they're catching fish down below me. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. I believe I tried a dry dropper. I think I fished a floater with 2 midges and a tungsten leech. Ended up catching like a buzzer beater fish that first hour on a leech, Mayer's mini leech with tungsten bead. That was the only fish I touched and caught that session. Second hour was rough. Again, I'm trying to figure it out. People over there are catching fish. I'm not. Didn't touch a fish. Didn't have any action that second hour. So I'm a little stressed out at this point. And basically heading into the last hour, I had the farthest beat down, beat 6, and I basically had some weeds over here that were on the edge of my beat, and kind of the beat kind of with some of the most active fish, I'd say. That last hour picked up for everybody, but the person before me had just caught like 3 or 4 fish out of the beat. I knew it was a good beat. By this point, I kind of had an idea of what they were doing, but I also kind of thought I was out of it. I'm not going to lie. I only had 1 fish. I knew they each had like 4 or 5 plus fish at this point. So basically, my only goal going into the last hour was catch 2 fish. Let's get 3 fish on the board. Let's just make sure I don't lose any placing points to anybody else in my group. Kind of take that 3rd place for the session and finish as high as possible. So basically going into it, I'm just saying, hey, I'm going to throw a midge tip with 3 crommetids, and I'm going to do that for the whole hour and just grind it out. Ended up catching a fish very quickly on the black and silver. Very quickly on that, moved over, had some other takes that didn't really turn into hooked fish. Caught a second fish. And then I put on 2 black and silvers, I believe, because that was kind of the only fly that they were actually touching for me. And then I was like casting out there, and I was just, again, counting to 40, doing it really slow, just kind of hanging those flies. And I had 2 fish on back-to-back casts just pick it up hanging. Like my line just went straight. Like I wasn't even stripping it. Line just went straight, fish on. I ended up dropping one of those, which would have been critical because, as we'll see later, I would have broken the tiebreaker. And I would have taken true second versus tying for second. Spoiler alert, I tied for second in the competition. Woohoo. So caught 2 fish doing that, caught another one. Kind of slow crawling my midges after a long countdown, long hang. So ended up catching 4 fish that final hour. And that was huge. And personally, I'm very proud of my resilience. I was very down going into that last hour. And I've had in the past choked, especially on 2-day competitions. My brother actually, when I texted him the results, he told me afterwards, he's like, dude, I didn't want to say congratulations because I didn't know if you had a second day, and you tend to suck on the second day. He's not wrong in the past, and I choked kind of later sessions, the second day of an event. So very proud of my resilience. I stayed into it. I had a plan, went with it, and it worked out. I finished that second session, checked with one of the other competitors. Actually, the competitor that had fished my beat before, checked with her. she's like, yeah, I caught 5. I'm like, yeah, I finished with 5 too. We ended up tying for second. Someone else caught 8. They took a 1. We tied with 2, so we both finished with 3 placing points because this was the same person I tied with on the first session. So we ended up tying for second and third overall. Definitely a thank you to Lance Egan, Glade Gunther for organizing the competition, and for Six Lakes Resort. I'll actually leave a link to the resort so you guys can check it out, maybe book a trip there sometime. Very awesome waters. We fished 2 of the lakes. There's more lakes there. It looks like there's some great fishing. There was one lake we drove by that just had risers everywhere, and it was just so juicy, but wasn't when we fished for the competition. So yeah, but that's going to do it for my comp recap. Hopefully more comps in the future. I'm thinking about maybe hosting some coming up. We shall see. But hopefully we'll do this again soon. I'll do a little bit better with my footage and whatnot. You're going to see a couple clips after this, but I'll try to do better during the actual comp day next time. Maybe recording some clips and stuff for you. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe, all that jazz. We'll see y'all again real soon. Take care, y'all. Glacial rainwater and lip balm, because my lips and my face are drier than the Sahara Desert. It's pretty bad. My lips are literally cracked and bleeding. I complained about Cortland tippet rings the other day, and then these ones came pre on the swivel. Shouldn't have never talked bad about Cortland. Shouldn't have done my Cortland that dirty. This dude is running across the bridge. Run, buddy, run!